All right, good morning, Franklin students and staff. Happy Monday. This is Mr. Patacha coming with you today. As you notice, I have two special guests that I brought to be here with me today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Amanda Beckett, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Gabe Miller, and I'm also an 8th grader.
These are two amazing students who were actually recognized as Spotlight students earlier this month. Now we're going today to talk to you about the survey that you took earlier this month regarding the hallways and the safety within the hallways. So be with us here about the next 5 to 10 minutes as we go through the information from all of you students. All right, just to refresh your memory here, this survey was actually taken earlier this month, November 12th, in the same homerooms that you're in today. Now, those 7th and 8th graders in our building actually took this last year as 6th and 7th graders in the spring, so this is, again, the second time that you've taken this. And one thing that would be important for you students to notice is that we're going to start posting this data, and that's going to be outside of Miss Edgerton's room, which is room 342. Now, the picture, just in case you're trying to remember back what the survey looked like, the picture here on this screen shows an example of the survey that you took earlier this month. So one of the first questions that was on that survey as we get into the information here was the safety of students in the hallways and restrooms is a significant problem. Now, Amanda, when we take a look at the information here from the students, what do you notice from this pie chart?
I noticed that agree is at 27% and disagree is at 33%.
So one of the things that we're going to look to do is look for trends here. Now, one of the things that this pie chart and this problem states is the fact that we have answers from different ends of the spectrum. So we have students that agree that this is a problem. We have students that disagree with this part of the problem. So what we're looking to do as we go through these questions here is identify certain areas that you students could help with based upon our data. So here's the next question on the survey. So the last one dealt with students. Now we're looking at the safety of the staff in the hallways is a significant problem. Now our two strongest answers in this one are both disagree and strongly disagree, where it looks like 65% of those that responded to the survey disagreed or strongly agreed with that particular statement. All right, now when we take a look at the next statement, the statement read, student misbehavior in the hallways and restroom is a significant problem. Gabe, I'm going to turn this to you. What do you notice about the information and data here?
Well, I noticed that agree is at 41% and strongly agree is at 25%.
So students, if you take a look, if you remember back to that first question, we're looking now at answers that are fairly similar. So that looks at 66% of the students, so 2/3 of the student body here at school believe that student misbehaviors in the hallway and restrooms is a significant problem. So again, as we go through these, don't look necessarily just only from a building perspective, but what you as a student could help to improve these particular statements so we don't necessarily agree that this is a significant problem next time. All right, we're moving on to the next set of statements that deal with respect. So the first statement talks about students are generally respectful to other students in the hallway. Now this data is kind of all over the place from this particular statement, but Amanda, what are some big observations that you see with this statement?
I see that over half of the students think that respect is a problem.
All right, so when we take a look at that, you're right. So 21% of the students strongly disagree and 31% of the students disagree. So that's 52% of the students. 1 out of every 2 of you really view that respect to other students in the hallway is a problem. So again, as we talk about areas where we can work at, each and every single one of us could help with this part. All right, so continuing on with the statements that revolve around respect. So this statement said that students are generally respectful to staff in the hallways. Now, when we take a look at this, Gabe, what do you notice about the data from here?
I noticed that it's pretty scattered across, but that 27% disagree and 36% agree.
All right, so the information compared to the last statement where kind of as an overwhelming majority of the students felt that respect from student to student was an issue, we're kind of looking at different pieces of information here where some of the students disagree and some of the students agree that respect to staff members from students occurs in the hallway. All right, so those last statements dealt with students to students or students to staff. This next statement reads that staff members are generally respectful to students in the hallway. When we take a look at the information here, 67%, so again, 2 out of every 3 either agree or strongly agree that staff members are generally respectful to students in the hallway. All right, the next pieces of information that we're going to go over revolve around our tardies. Now, as you learned at the beginning of the year, we have a revised and revamped tardy policy, and we're going to take a look about how tardies impact instruction, but we're also going to look at some actual data from first quarter, as well as a comparison from first quarter to second quarter, about what our numbers and tardies look like. All right, the first questions that deal with tardy, the statement on the survey said that tardiness is a significant problem. Now, Amanda, when we take a look at the data here, what do you notice?
I see that 56% strongly agree that tardiness is a significant problem.
All right, so when we take a look, remember tardiness is late to class, whether it be by just a few seconds or a couple minutes. So again, as Amanda said, 18% strongly agree with the statement that tardiness is a significant problem, and 38% agree that that is a problem. So this next statement talks about the loss of instructional time due to tardy students is a significant problem. Now, instructional time, that means that teachers have to stop teaching or students stop learning due to the fact that people are coming into the classroom late. So, Gabe, what do you notice about the information here?
I noticed that 61% of students either said disagree or strongly disagree.
All right, so from the data, it doesn't appear from the student's perspective that it's really that much of an issue that the instructional time is being lost due to students being late. All right, so this next set of data is actual data here from Franklin students so far during the 2018-19 school year here at Franklin. So teachers, in just a little bit after I get done talking, I want you to go ahead and pause on this screen and kind of walk through what this data shows, and you can take a look specifically at your particular grade level. So this data shows first quarter number of students based upon certain categories of tardies. So when we take a look, there's 3 separate categories. We have students with 5 to 9 tardies, 10 to 14 tardies, or 15 plus. Now remember back to that tardy policy, we're not including tardies to first period or second period. We're only taking a look at students that enter late in periods 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So teachers, here a little bit, if you want to go ahead and pause the slide and go through this information with your students based upon your grade level and what you notice from first quarter tardies. So that information from the previous slide may have surprised you, but now we're going to take a look at comparisons from the first 3 weeks of quarter 1 compared to the first 3 weeks of quarter 2. Now the categories remain the same, again, from 5 to 9 tardies, from 10 to 14, and from 15 plus. So again, here a little bit, staff members, I want you to go ahead and pause the screen and take a look at this data, how it compares, and hope for the most part, see those improvements that have been made from students from one quarter to the next. All right, so we're going to come back here with these 2 amazing students that we have with me, and we're going to talk through again. We felt as a staff that it was important to emphasize tardies, which is why we've revamped our tardy policy. Now, we talked a little bit about the data, what the data shows, and I want some basic observational data from both Amanda and Gabe here. So Gabe, can you talk to me about the reason of why you believe it's important to be on time?
Yeah, the reason why it's important to be on time is because if you get 5 tardies, you will then get detention. And if you're there on time, the teacher will be giving instructions on what to do. Plus, it's a very good life skill to always be on time.
I couldn't have said it any better, so I appreciate that, Gabe. Thanks for kind of giving the reason why. Amanda, let's say there's some students that are watching this that they're still having a problem, still struggling to really be on time. So what's some advice that you could give those students or any student?
You can walk and talk in the hallways or don't talk at all. You can have all your materials for all your classes and have specific folders for them and just hustle class.
All great skills. I know those are skills that we teach 6th graders in particular, but those are skills that 6th, 7th, and 8th graders could all have. So as we continue on throughout the year, we're going to take a look at that tardy information, but also hopefully if you've had some issues being late to class, each and every single day and each and every single quarter and week, we want to make sure that we will make progress to be to class on time so we get all the instruction and there's no instruction loss for the teacher or for the other students. All right, so as we conclude up these last couple slides, if you remember back to that survey, one of the last pieces on there was for you to provide comments based upon anything dealing with the safety of the hallways, restrooms, or those common areas. So this is a Wordle here, so this takes all those comments that were provided. So thousands of words were provided in comments from the 630 plus students in here in the building. So those words that are the biggest are those that are the most reoccurring words throughout those surveys. So teachers, feel free to go ahead and stop the slideshow here a little bit and kind of let your students kind of take a look through what the most used words on those comments were. All right, so we are completely through our slides here today. I want to especially thank both Amanda and Gabe for being here with me today. It reduces the amount of time you hear my voice, and it's also great to hear the student's voice as well. So Amanda, Gabe, before we close up here, what's a couple things that you guys are looking forward to the rest of this year?
I'm looking forward to 8th grade graduation and the ski trip.
Gabe, what about you?
I'm looking forward to having some awesome lunch.
All right. Great statements from two great students. So again, thanks for your time today. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Gabe. And thanks to all of you students for providing that input and data as we look to improve each and every single day here at Franklin Middle School. Have a good day.